The new year is a time to celebrate the past and look toward the future.
New year, new me, incoming.
But being surrounded by the optimism inspired by a new year can also inspire us to overwhelm ourselves with an excessive number of goals in the hopes of becoming a new and improved version of ourselves. According to Forbes Health, 66.5% of people make at least 3 resolutions, and 61.7% make resolutions because of external pressure they feel. But if we're not actually ready to make drastic changes, it's unlikely that we'll be successful.
One of the hardest parts about making resolutions is keeping them. In fact, most resolutions are abandoned by February.
Or sooner.
Research shows that around 80 to 90% of people don't achieve their goals, hence the unofficial days of throwing in the towel, like January 17th's Ditch New Year's Resolutions Day, and the second Friday in January dubbed Quitter's Day.
I'm on a diet. Nah, that's correct.
So why do we keep setting ourselves up for failure year after year, knowing the anxiety that lies ahead?
So those were New Year's resolutions then, huh? That looks like a long list. You better get on it.
I don't know, maybe next year.
Let's unpack this annual tradition, why it often sparks an existential crisis, and how to find ways to stay positive while we reinvent ourselves. Stepping into a new year feels like the perfect time for new beginnings. We've finally made it through one cycle and are ready to hop into a different one full of endless possibilities. So what better time to become a new person, that person that you've always wanted to be?
The only reason that New Year's even exists, besides that pagan thing that no one talks about, is for the world to give us permission to try something new.
It only makes sense to become a new you at a time that signifies a clean slate, throwing out our old selves along with last year's calendar as we reflect on the past. After spending the final month of the year being reminded of everything everyone else has accomplished in 12 months, while often focusing on everything you haven't, it's hard not to start making grand plans about how this year is going to be different and deciding on what you want or feel like you need to change.
But the new year is a chance to wipe the dry erase board of life clean and start over. Unless some idiot has used a permanent marker.
While we know that changes can be made at any time, we've learned to associate a new year with a newer, better version of ourselves.
So like on any given Monday, you could say you're going vegan, but in January, everyone believes you.
Researchers identified this as the fresh start effect, temporal landmarks that represent a new chapter in our lives, the same way we see a Monday, a birthday, or a new school year.
This year's different. This year, it's my year. I can feel it.
But trying to become entirely different people, especially in a short amount of time, is objectively unrealistic and can lead to distress and even self-loathing.
Another year, just another light.
In fact, January actually might be the hardest time of year to implement changes. The weather is historically cold, coworkers are on vacation, and we're likely still recovering from overindulging over the holidays.
If January 1st hits, you're hungover and you're trying to set goals and then create a plan to achieve them, you're most likely going to fall off.
And starting out with such high hopes and lofty goals also means we also have further to fall. The frustration of not making progress within the first few days or weeks may make us want to quit completely. While the date may seem kind of arbitrary to some, there's a history of New Year resolutions rooted in rituals and religion dating back thousands of years to ancient Babylonians. They celebrated a new year by further demonstrating their loyalty to the gods. The Chinese New Year similarly focuses on internal evolution and performing good deeds to have a prosperous future.
Having a clean slate is an important part of the Lunar New Year. All debts, disputes, and grudges have to be resolved in order to ensure good fortune for the coming year.
Fresh off the boats, Jessica Huang makes sure everyone in her family has settled any baggage they've accumulated before they head into the next year. However, as her son points out, she's never had a clean slate herself.
Don't worry. This year, to ensure success, I am putting myself on lockdown. If I don't leave the house, I can't get into any fights.
It's her goal to get through the last day without her usual penchant for fighting. But of course, she faces more than one instance where her resolve is tested. Jessica's determination seemingly stems from her desire to finally have the perfect beginning for her family.
I just want our whole family to start out the new year on the right foot for once.
We're always searching for our true or ideal self, the person we believe is a better version of our past and or present self.
It's funny, no matter how old you get, New Year's Eve still feels like the one night where anything is possible.
And every year, the wellness industry encourages us to buy gym memberships, exercise equipment, and weight loss products to start the year off right.
Life is good. but it can be better.
According to a 2023 survey from Forbes Health One poll, improved fitness was the top resolution among American adults. Of course, these resolutions often aren't just about health. They often revolve around the societal pressure towards thinness. And so it's also no big surprise that women feel slightly more pressured to make resolutions than men.
Resolution number 1. Obviously, we'll lose 20 pounds.
Over the centuries, our most common resolutions have generally become external and achievement-focused rather than more introspective changes that might more positively impact our well-being.
Resolution number 2. Meet a guy.
Rom-coms, for example, often center on women trying to have it all, and the focus of their resolutions tend to be appearance and romance, which tend to go hand in hand.
It all began on New Year's Day in my 32nd year of being single. Once again, I found myself on my own.
Since for women especially, outside pressure often revolves around these two aspects of life, it makes sense that they would be a big theme for resolutions, but because they're so superficial, those changes are never the ones that lead to true happiness. New Year's resolutions are usually plot points in sitcoms, often even getting their own dedicated episode, because it's a clear obstacle, sending characters into the chaos and stress of committing to drastic behavioral changes in a short span of time.
Every day, I am going to do one thing I have never done before. That, my friends, is my New Year's resolution.
Sitcoms already love to pull humor from the struggles faced by the characters, so adding in both the heightened pressure of the new year and the time element ratchets up the havoc for the characters and the laughs for the audience. On The Office, Pam tries to make resolutions a fun group activity for her coworkers, even though everyone is clearly struggling or just outright refusing to take anything seriously.
The goal of this meeting is to get everybody excited about their resolutions. Who's been good about their resolutions so far?
Even when you think you're creating resolutions for the right reasons, those good intentions can easily get lost in all of the pressure that they create. In the end, trying to get others to support each other leads to even Pam herself breaking resolutions under stress.
Oh, Pam, soda, caffeine.
Yeah, just a little. I have a lot to deal with today.
Well, if you don't have to do them.
One reason we often give up on our resolutions is that we don't take the time to interrogate why we want to change specific aspects of ourselves and lives, or if we even need to change at all.
I wanted to start the new year with the new me, but I don't even understand who I was to change from it.
Do we really want to run that marathon, or is it just something we think we should do? Otherwise, if they're not actually important to us, we're guaranteed to give up soon, and nothing is actually going to get resolved. Plus, change is hard and inconvenient and uncomfortable, so if your heart's not in it, why would you continue?
You need to find a way that it's satisfying, fun, or easy. Ideally, all three. If it's stressful or if it's making you feel guilty or ashamed, give it up. It's not going to help.
The 2020s ushered in a world of uncertainty, and we saw a shift in how, or if, we make resolutions. Some have given up the passé traditional resolutions completely, opting for an anti-resolution mindset to avoid the toxic cycle of self-improvement and frustration. Lockdown forced people to alter their lives in social isolation and under increasing stress around job security and health concerns.
Be adventurous. Travel somewhere I haven't been every single month. Just leave the house once a week.
While #grindset influencers can oftentimes spearhead some of the most unhealthy types of resolution making, other creators seek to make inspiring content with the goal of helping followers stick to healthy, realistic goals. Some have shared the methods that make their resolutions manageable, like habit stacking and working towards smaller goals, nicknamed microlutions, throughout the year instead of trying to do everything all at once.
Similarly, with working out 5 days a week, reading 50 books, that seems really unmanageable and overwhelming to me right now. Because, bitch, please, I don't even work out 1 day a week right now.
These processes definitely require patience, but gradually incorporating these changes into our daily life/routines now means we'll have a better chance to make them stick. To avoid the negative side effects of traditional resolutions, many have started turning to alternatives that lean more into mindfulness and spirituality, like manifesting and reciting positive affirmations.
I saw this on TikTok last year and thought it was such a good idea.
The increasingly popular concept of intention setting focuses on specifics instead of grand yet vague goals. Then there's the slow living movement, which values a gentle approach to self-evolution, embracing the setbacks and challenges, valuing the journey rather than the result. When we focus on listening to our bodies when they need to move or when they need to rest, we can begin finding ways that we can achieve goals by doing things that we enjoy instead of forcing ourselves to do things we hate.
We've been doing this research for decades, and the big revolution we have now is people tend to do what they enjoy and not what they don't enjoy.
Personal growth is a lifelong process that we naturally crave as humans. And despite faltering past attempts and even outright failures, we're driven to implement positive changes.
Well, one of my New Year's resolutions is to say yes. Yes to love, yes to life, yes to staying in more.
But if we don't undergo proper preparation, we just end up in a state of deprivation that only hinders our growth and makes these lofty goals more and more unattainable. Call it a plan, a resolution, a life goal, whatever feels right to you. At the end of the day, it's amazing to attempt to take control of our lives and put in the effort to become healthier and happier. So let's not punish ourselves on the journey.
Because it's not about being perfect, it's about trying.
That's the take. Click here to watch a video we think you'll love, or here to check out a whole playlist of awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. And make sure to subscribe to our Patreon for exclusive new videos.